Alrighty, welcome to Paul's Take, and this is the late night third shift version. And today we're talking about parallel universes. I have proof there's parallel universes. It's quite obvious. Everybody can see it. Once you see it, you'll like, whoa. Okay, so all you gotta do to witness a parallel universe is to go to Fox News. And then, I'm sorry, I thought I heard something scary. Then you go over to CNN. They're both news channels. They're both unbiased. But you will get two completely different realities. It is amazing. Let's see here, how do I look? Oh. Yeah, so between Fox and CNN, it looks like two different worlds altogether. How could that be if they're unbiased? How could one portray the world in one way and the other portray the world completely different? I admit I watch more Fox News, but I try to get a look at both sides. So I try to switch it over back and forth. But I have to admit that as much as I would like to watch CNN, get their point of view, I find that they weren't always this way, but they become very, very depressing. They're all doom and gloom. You all look so sad. You all look so serious. And then Fox News is more upbeat. I can actually go over to what's it called? MSNBC. Yeah, and they seem they're democratic, but they seem more lively. But definitely are democratic for sure, pushing that agenda. Now it seems like most people just watch the news and just go with it, man. Just go with it. And most of your local channels like ABC, NBC, they're all very democratic. So people just watch it and don't question it. And why should they? I mean, people have been for years and years watching the news and believing that news is being unbiased. But it wasn't until you found out who owns news. Who owns news? Where might they go? That it seems like that most agencies are owned by the same people. All right, so trying to see who is that person. I forgot who it was, so try to look it up. Sorry for the delay there, for the quiet time. So anyhow, I should probably bring up a little more introduction to myself because this is a relatively new channel, right? I've just been doing this recently, and I've been actually doing. I think most people would do a podcast, and then once their podcast gets pretty good, then they'll start doing YouTube channels of the podcast, right? Well, I'm a little bit the opposite. I actually started with a YouTube channel and added a podcast to go with it. So now I'm doing both simultaneously, and it's a little different, of course. I like the fact that you have your options now. You can watch my show either on YouTube, which is see my face, or you can go to any of your podcast providers. So anyways, so this lets you know that you can watch my show either way. Unfortunately, I like to do these shows live because it's more exciting for you to watch me blunder and for me. But unfortunately, the podcast you don't have that option to do it live. It has to be recorded. So the show's recording right now, and then afterwards, I have to wrap it up and then do the little thing, and it should be posted shortly after, probably within 20 minutes of the live show. You can catch it on podcast, right? All right. So, anyways, where were we? Oh, yes, the parallel universes, the two different worlds. So, so today is the third day of the Democratic Convention, and I got to listen to just a little bit. I was at work, and I was trying to do some work, and I was trying to listen to the convention a little bit, get some. Like I said, I like to see both sides of the story. I'm open-minded, right? And I listened to Obama today, and he can give a good speech. I'll give him that. Hands down, he can read a speech like nobody's business. I mean, I was like, wow, you're right, man. You're totally right. But that's my point, though. Like everything that he says, you want to believe, right? I mean, he sounds so genuine. Why not believe him? He's a better salesman. And most people, I think, will believe the person that just seems most sincere. So if you're better at being sincere, you're going to win people's minds. If you go over now, right now, I know most people won't do this. Most people that are Democrats will watch the Democratic Party and be like, yeah, man, that's right. We're right. Trump is the devil. He's going to destroy the country. For some reason, he didn't quite do it yet. Maybe he was kind of waiting for the second term. But second term for sure, the whole country will implode, and the Nazis will come out of the woodwork, and they'll march down the streets and round up everybody, and that's when the ovens will come and turn on and melt everybody. He didn't do it in the first term. He couldn't do it. No, the first term. Potentially he could have done it on the first term, but no, he's going to wait till the second term to really destroy the country. The first term, yeah, he's just going to build up the economy. He's going to get jobs for everybody. That's just this little ploy to trick you. That way, on the second term, he's just messing with you right now. He's trying to do a really good job now, but in the second term is when he's going to turn on everybody. That's when he's going to never leave and become the dictator. I mean, he's old and all. He's super old and probably couldn't live super much longer, but he's going to stay there forever. He'll never die. They'll put him on life support. He'll just be the president, the dictator of the United States for the next 100 years for sure. So you guys got to get him out, no matter what. It's like the whatever justifies the means. You got to get him out of office. So burn, loot, pillage, rape, steal, anything you want. It's okay. Anarchy is okay as long as you get Trump out of the office. That seems like the mentality. Now, the funny thing, the ironic thing, of course, is that they're always telling you Trump's going to destroy the country. Well, Trump's followers are horrible. They're the most violent, racist, terrible people in the world. But yet, all the Trump rallies have been completely peaceful, utterly peaceful. And then all of the Democratic rallies, or whatever we call them, break out in anarchy, in violence and fires, and people are getting randomly punched in the face if they're not the right color. And it's insane how the Democrats say they're accusing the Republicans, the Democrats, or the Republican followers, or Trump followers, of being these horrible, horrible, violent, terrible people. But they're totally peaceful. They're not even really going up against the violence to a point where you're like, shouldn't they at least stand up to the violence and all this stuff? But they're not. They're just letting the police do their jobs. And apparently the police are the bad guys because of a bad cop or something, or a few bad cops. Now all the police are horrible. But yet they'll still call the cops. They'll still call the cops for security, and they'll call the cops for if they need help and stuff. But yet they're still horrible. They're horrible, but we'll still call them. We'll still need you, but they're horrible. So it's insane. But I challenge anybody, and I know people watching this show, I got a feeling already, if you haven't turned off already, you're probably, if you're still listening, you're probably Republican, right? So I would assume if you're Democrat, you turned me off a long time ago. But if you're still on, if you're still listening and you're a Democrat, I challenge you to continue to watch your Democratic convention like I am. I'm trying to catch it as well. I'm going to try probably catch the reruns, but I want to watch it because I want to hear both sides of the story. So I challenge everybody else to do the same thing. If you're a Democrat, watch your convention and go listen to the other side. And don't listen to it for yourself. Don't get the highlights from CNN because they will tell you what you heard, right? They will tell you, or they'll tell you what they want you to hear. They will twist everything. Well, like if Trump said, "I want world peace," the CNN will say he wants world peace because of his ego. He wants it because it'll make him look good. He doesn't want it for. He doesn't want to help anybody. He really doesn't want world peace. He wants the world to be in pieces. That's what he meant. He meant the world in pieces, not a peace, world peace. You misunderstood him. You don't know what he means. We can interpret his ideas. We know when he said world peace, he meant to take the world into pieces and throw them in a trash can. So please watch both. Watch, because watching the Democratic Party, the convention, and they have their opportunity to sell their side. It sounded like we had the worst. You would never believe that the economy was doing so well, even under this pandemic that shut down the whole economic system. We're still doing pretty good. The stock market is the highest level, even after it being shut down for so long. It's crazy to think we should be in a huge recession. The market should have crashed. Everything should have been terrible, but everything is rebounding really well. So it makes you wonder. I mean, really, the timing of the epidemic is just so convenient for the Democrats to crash the economy, because the economy is doing great, and now all of a sudden it's tanked. And it kills me how they're saying the economy is doing bad. Look at the economy just dropped. And they know it's because they insisted that they close everything. And then they're going to blame Trump because the economy went down because everything got closed down. How is that reasonable? It's not reasonable. It's completely scandalous. And I'm not saying that the Republicans are angels, because when it comes to politics, it's a dirty, dirty, dirty game. And the Republicans will paint a picture of how the Democrats are doing, and they're going to say they're the worst people in the world, and have this idea of socialism and giving up all your rights and giving up all your property and businesses and opportunities. And is it true? It's probably, the truth is it's probably somewhere in the middle. But what's really disgusting to me now is that after this COVID-19, or during this COVID-19, and everybody's insisted upon closing the market, they're going to still blame Trump for the market dropping a little bit, how people lost their jobs a little bit. But it really wasn't his fault, and it was really the Democrats that insisted upon it. So how are you going to blame him? That's pretty shady. And two, oh my gosh, well, I just thought of this right now. In the beginning, in January, Trump was on this COVID-19 way before anybody else was, and he said, they got this thing going on in China. We got to block China from coming to the United States. We got to restrict them from coming in. The Democrats went loco. They went crazy, saying he was hyping it up. He was overreacting. He was all this stuff. He was just horror. He was a fear monger. He's just all. And then, okay, so he does it. But then, and was it Nancy Pelosi, whatever it was telling people, oh, he's overreacting. Come to Chinatown. Come to Chinatown. Let's have a party. They're fine. There's nothing here. He's overreacting. He's full of baloney. He's just fear mongering. And then complain that he didn't act, that he took too long. When it's obviously people like have the worst memory, or they're just not paying attention. I think that's what it is. It's that they don't remember. They're not paying attention. People just don't pay attention because most people don't care about politics at all. They're bored with it. They get their own business. They get their own thing going on. They'll get a clip here and there off of their local news channel, and the local news channel saying Trump is terrible, and then that's it. It is what it is. Trump is terrible. I saw 10 minutes of news last week, and that's what they said. So it must be true. But, and obviously I'm leaning toward it. I mean, I'm definitely going to pick Trump this year, this election. And it's not because I love Trump. I actually do. I mean, I like Trump a lot. Is he a great president? No, he's not a great president. But he's a great doer. He gets things done. He is a doer for sure. He is not a role model in a sense where he's definitely like not he's not like a saint or anything. And he's not a seasoned politician that says the right things and he's like all polished and he knows how to kiss the babies and all that stuff. He doesn't do that. He is just a frank kind of just off the cuff, rough guy. He is, but he's good at running stuff. He's good at getting things done. That's why I think that's why I like him. But no, he's definitely not a uniter. I think he kind of uses that to. I don't think he's really dividing, but you got to really kind of know his style. You got to understand him. So if he's like and he said it before, he's a counter puncher. If you insult him, he's going to insult you back for sure. If you dog on him, he's going to dog on you back. But if you don't, he's not. And he is helping everybody. The economy is working for everybody under Trump, which is most people cannot say the same thing, but they won't admit it, of course. Now, is my thing as well, of course, based on who I'm voting for, is the fundamental beliefs of the Republican Party versus Democratic Party. And I'm kind of like to think myself as independent, right? Because there's things on the Republican side that I like, and there's things on the Democratic side I like. But overall, more things on the Republican side. But I believe that you should go back and forth to get balance, give it some balance, right? A lot of people don't believe that. They want one-sided. And I think it's just being narrow-minded. If you believe 100% on every issue of your party, then you are a sheep. You really are. If you're just going to listen and say, well, if the Republican Party or Democratic Party says I should believe this, then I shall. No questions asked. You just trust them. You just trust their stance. They don't think for themselves. Me, no, I question everything. So what do I like on the Democrat side? I'll tell you what I like. You tell me what you like about the Republican side. Is that fair? Because if you don't like anything, then you're probably a sheep. I'm just saying you're a sheep. If you like, maybe if you lean more on one side or the other, even if you lean a lot more on one side, then at least it tells me you have your own mind and you're thinking for yourself. So what do I like on the Democratic side? Well, the first thing I like is I do like the idea of having a public option for healthcare. That's right, a public option, not universal healthcare, like say there's only public option and there's no private option. No, I don't believe in that. I believe it should be like going to school up until your high school years. College should be the same thing too, but let's just stick with the high school, middle school, and elementary school. There's public schools, right? You can go send your kid to a public school, you should be able to go to a public hospital. But if you want to go to a private school, then you are free to do that as well. So that have that option. That way, win-win. You have your options. Everybody's covered one way or another. You get public school, public health care, and private school, private health care. Why can't we all? We don't have to have. See, the thing that bothers me about like some of the extremists on either side, really, but like it has to be only private or only public. It can't be. You can't have both. No, why can't you have both? Have everything. So that is what I believe on healthcare. So I do believe on public option healthcare, right? And then also, I don't think colleges should be so darn expensive. I mean, so I kind of think it's the same way. There should be a public option for college. And in California, they have, what do you call it? They have community college, where it's basically like high school, but it goes on to your first 2 years of college, so you can get an associate's degree. I mean, it's very reasonable. You don't have to get loans. If you have a crappy job, you can pay for your classes, and you get your 2-year degree. So why not just expand it to 4 years? You know what I'm saying? If you want to go to a fancy college, fancy university, knock yourself out. But otherwise, you go to your community college. But now, community college, you have to have a bachelor's degree. Because really, like the community colleges, they're way more simple. Like I'm talking about like the actual buildings and stuff, the campus. It's like a high school, maybe a little bigger. Actually, the one I went to Santa Monica College, which is a public school, a community college, and it's really big. It's a big college compared to a high school, but it's not like UCLA or something or UNC or anything like that. But it wasn't fancy. It was probably just a hair nicer than a high school. And really, some high schools are nicer. But like if you go to any of these universities, go to UNC, go to UCLA, go to Duke, these campuses are ridiculously nice. So you're paying for this super nice, rich atmosphere. So, I mean, I guess that's important to some people. They want to be in a nice atmosphere. Who doesn't want to be in a nice atmosphere? But fundamentally, though, the most important thing, if you want to get an education, you have a place to go. You shouldn't have to go to a super expensive university to get an education. That's my take. So those I do like. Is there other things? Probably. Oh, the environment. Yeah, I'm all for the environment. I'm not sure if global warming is something that we can do much about. I think so, though. But regardless, though, I like clean air. I think renewable energy is important. So there you go. So that's, and if you listen to those reasons, you're thinking, hey, this guy is a straight up Democrat. But I think those are the things that I go for on the Democratic side. On the Republican side, though, what I do, I'm very strongly for pro-life. I'm strong for small government. I believe in capitalism. But of course, there should be some, not 100% capitalism, but free markets. That's where you have the opportunity to really create your own reality. You can basically become rich if you want to. If you work hard, you're dedicated, take the chances, take the risk, bust your butt, you can succeed. And if you want to be lazy, then you work for a crappy job and work for somebody else. Either, I don't know. So capitalism and what did I say? Capitalism. Oh, and guns now. The funny thing is, let me tell you about the gun thing. It's kind of funny. I wasn't a big supporter of the Second Amendment. Not that I was completely against it. Like, I believe, you can have a shotgun to protect your house, but you're really much more than that. So I didn't really care for much more than that for firearms. Like semi-automatics, all these high-capacity rounds. I wasn't for that. All these powerful um, machine guns or rifles or assault rifles. I wasn't really for that. But you know what changed my mind? You know what changed my mind? I'll tell you. What changed my mind was the Democrats. That's right. They changed my mind to go far more pro-gun than before. Because why? Why did they do that? Because they're all anti-gun? Well, because of all the riots and all the anarchy and all the violence. It's crazy. People walking around beating up people, burning down houses, burning down businesses. I mean, really, I'm getting a little older here. I'm not a young pup anymore. I can still take care of myself. But 10 more years from now, probably not so much. 15 years from now, 20 years from now, not so much. I'm not going to be able to defend myself against a bunch of crazy 20-year-olds or teenagers trying to attack me. I wouldn't. How am I going to protect my house? How am I going to protect my family? How am I going to protect my home and stuff? Then you have to have a gun. And I actually thought that there wasn't that. I wasn't afraid of these kind of things. I didn't think these kind of things would happen in the United States. But sure enough, I was wrong. All these riots and stuff. I'm like, dude, let's load up. You have to do it. You have to do it now. So thanks you Democrats for bringing me into a very strong position on guns. So now I'm all for guns. Absolutely. Because that's the only thing that's going to get their attention. It's the only thing to protect myself. Otherwise, a group of anarchists, group of rioters and violent thugs can basically take over and just take over your neighborhood, take over your home, and just run the place just by being jerks. Because they don't even need guns. You get a few hundred people with bats and sticks and rocks, bricks. They can do enough damage. So it's not be like, you're not going to be young forever to be able to defend yourself like that forever. So that's why you need guns. So thanks for that. Alrighty, well, anyhow, I think we'll wrap this up. It's going kind of long, but you get my idea. Parallel universes. If you watch the Republicans Party or watch Fox News, they're painting a picture of what's going on in the world. That's completely 100% different than the picture that they're painting of the world on CNN. It's completely a different world. But just remember, who owns the media? Who owns CNN? Who owns most of the other companies? It's very liberal people. So how could that be fair and biased? You can't. If you're owned by Democrats, then obviously it's going to be slated towards Democrats. And you're not going to get a fair shake, a fair understanding of both sides of the story. If they're talking politics, I feel whenever they're talking politics, there should always be one person on the right and one person on the left to defend their side of the story. If you're only getting one side of the story, it's biased. All right? Well, thanks for watching Paul's take on the night shift. Make sure if you're new, hit like and hit subscribe to the channel. Hit alerts so you can be alerted to all my shows. So thanks for watching Paul's take on the night shift.